It's Sunday, October 15, 2023. Saturday I got a little bit of a mental break from the farm. I did a little bit of yard work. We hadn't really mowed much in the big area of the yard, so I mowed that down. I feel that's important for various reasons. It keeps the mice and things down, away from the house, away from the buildings a bit, and it also offers us a little fire protection in the spring, because there's not so much tall dead grass and plant matter if there should be a fire come across the landscape, and there has in the past. So I remember not many years ago there was a threat that way. There was fire trucks everywhere in my yard to save my buildings and my bees. And as a side note, I was very, very pleased that the first thing the fire truck did is it went right through to the back and took 2 lines straight out from the big tanker out to the bee yard. Save the bees, right? So it really warmed my heart. Anyway, the guy who was kind of running the operation, I was talking to him, and he said the fact that this is all cut back is perfect. He said that's exactly what you want to do. Keep that cut back, because then it doesn't have as much plant matter to just spread like a wildfire, because it was. So anyway, that's what I did yesterday. We also went to town for supplies, got some groceries, etc., and had a little bit of a mental break from the farm and some time to kind of collect my thoughts. I talked to my mentor about my feeding situation. I actually talked to another experienced beekeeper here in Manitoba about my feeding situation. And if you watched the video that I did, that I published this week, you'll know that I wasn't too pleased with the amount of feed that I saw in the colonies. So I'd like to get some more in. Today's a beautiful day. We don't have very many of these left, but I need to take advantage of it. I have 16 bags of sugar left, and even though I spent time, I filled my tank up, I put a gallon of bleach in it and washed it around and got her nice and clean. I'm going to put syrup back in there now, but it won't necessarily fill it with mold. I just have to make sure I rinse it when I'm done. So that's what I'm going to do here today. I'm going to mix up some more syrup. And again, ratios, this is where metric really shines. I have 16 bags of sugar, and so multiply that by 10, 160. Well, that's how many liters of water I need to make 2 to 1. I'm going to stretch that a little because I've been having trouble with precipitation in the jars, in the pails, and the tank. At a 2 to 1, and I know I can't really do a 2 to 1 with cold water, and if I do it with hot water, it may dissolve and then it precipitates after it cools off. So there's no sense in me using warm water even. Lots of agitation by the pump is kind of the key. 16 bags of sugar, 160 liters of water. What I get is what I get, because that's all the sugar I have, and I have no intention of going back to get more. I don't know if I'll need more. I need to count up how many pails I have and divide however many liters of sugar I get, or syrup I get. I have to divide that up among my pails and just give everybody a bit more. So a couple things I want to do here to the mixing plumbing before I get started. You see in past videos I've been sort of trying to improve my system and modify it a bit for different reasons, and there's a couple additional things I need to do here, or at least I want to do. So while the tank is empty, I'm going to affect those here today before I fill it with water and start mixing syrup. There's essentially 2 things I want to do here, 2 different things, but in 3 places. These big fittings that I put on here, when I did, I apparently did not put any Teflon tape on them, and they leak a little. See, this is actually a 3-inch pump, which you really just need a 2-inch pump for this, but the 3-inch went on sale. It was cheaper than the 2-inch, so I put this reducer on it, and I guess in my haste I didn't put any Teflon on there. I don't know about that one, but I don't think that leaks there, but it definitely leaks here. It doesn't leak badly, it leaks when there's water in it. And after I get the syrup mixed, it doesn't leak anymore because the syrup is much thicker. I don't have a wrench to get around this big piece, so I turn it here and hope it, so it cracks free of the pump. This is the biggest wrench I own, so if I got something that needs a wrench bigger than this, I'm kind of hooped. All right, so as I suspected, no Teflon on that. However, I don't know how much Teflon I have. I'm going to do this job before I start using my Teflon up. This was kind of a stopgap. You can see I put a flexible rubber coupler on here, and it's sealed just fine. It's just that I don't really care for it being that, that flexible and sticking out like that. So I'm going to put a solid fitting on there, and the threads that go in the tank, that's called a buttress fitting. That's called buttress threads, and it seals. I was talking the other day about using Teflon because this is NPT, National Pipe Thread. The thread actually seals the pipe, so you want to get Teflon on there to make a good seal. Buttress, it doesn't seal on the thread, so I don't need to use Teflon. It actually seals right here against this white part. It seals up when it pushes it in like that. So that's it feels like a neoprene or something. It's a little bit soft. It's a little bit of a soft product. So it'll seal against that fitting. And one of my kind of challenges is I can't get in there with a screwdriver to take those hose clamps off. I need to just use a little open end wrench. You may not be able to see me do this, but I'm trying to take this clamp off, and I don't have much swing in here. I can only do about a 1/12 of a turn each time. Boy, that is tight. It doesn't look that tight, but there's no room for swing in it. The way these wrenches are made with it just angled a little bit is absolutely genius, because if it won't fit on one way, it'll probably fit on the other way. That's old-time genius, They've been making them like that for 100 years or so. Okay, so that's all that's required there. And we'll take that. I want to reuse this. So we'll take that off as well. Okay, now I need to use my big wrench. Hope I can hold this tight enough. Oh, yeah. All right. So now the new fitting will go on there. And that ends up being my male end of my quick coupler. Now, I'd spin that on there and use the valve to tighten it, but that valve doesn't have a huge amount of clearance in there, so I think I'm just going to torque it a bit here. Pipe wrench is going to make a mess of things because they have teeth that dig in, but I don't have much choice. I want to get that pretty snug. I don't want to have leaks because this fitting is before the valve, so if there's anything in the tank, it'll leak. I seem like I'm clumsy with a pipe wrench. It's only because I am. I'm better on a keyboard than I am with tools, I think. Okay. And again, I don't want to go crazy with that Teflon on there. I can go crazy and crack that. We're not dealing with a lot of pressure here, so I don't need to go nuts. Now, I'll get this in there. Sure like it to come around to the top again. There we go. Okay, now that should serve well. You know, doesn't stick out as far. And because this is the pressure side, if I'm going to run out of Teflon, I'll run out on this one because this is the suction side. It's far less likely to leak. Because that's a long way around that. It's going to use some tape. I like this tape. It's more expensive than what I normally buy, but it's definitely thicker and tougher. And let's face it, I don't use that much of it in my life. Okay. Now these two are universal. They are the same part. A great big coupling like this, I don't feel like I need to lean on that at all because it's so big, and I think I could tighten that and snap that big coupler pretty easily. And I don't want to do that because it's Sunday. I can't just run to the store. I'll leave it like that. enough. I can always turn it more later. If I crack it, I can't undo it. Okay. All right. Boy, you pay for these quick couplers, but that's a ticket, those things. So I have my patented Sawmill Charlie style water meter here, and for an exact 2-to-1, I'm looking for 160 liters of water. However, I should be targeting more 1.8 to 1, so I'm going to add a bit to that, and I'm going to go 180, 190 liters in there. As this fills, I notice I've got a leak here. Again, not such a big deal because it's not on the pressure side, and once I get the syrup mixed, this will stop leaking. However, this hose material is extremely rigid, and I found out what I need to do is not only run 2 hose clamps the opposite direction, just like I did on this one. This was leaking pretty bad, but it's now tight, I think. But also, it was suggested by the plumbing department at my home hardware. They're really knowledgeable people. I'm very happy I have them in my life. Is to use my heat gun, warm this thing up. I had to heat this thing up pretty good to even get it on this barb fitting. But they said warm this up really good as I tighten this hose clamp. Put another hose clamp here the opposite direction, and that should seal it off. So I may do that, and I'll maybe do this one too. But again, these are on the suction side, so they typically don't leak much at all. The one that would leak a lot is this one, because I would turn this off, or mostly off, to build pressure in the serving circuit, so therefore I'd build pressure here and this would leak. But I've fixed those leaks now. That's not going to leak anymore. So up to 149 liters. So we'll go to 180 to 190, somewhere in there. 160. So 160 would be a pure 2-to-1. I'm not going to go 2-to-1. I'll go a little bit thinner. I think I'll go 180. I'd like to put myself a little valve in here to shut this off, just so I don't have to disconnect that. The only way I have to shut it off is kink the hose. 175. 179, 180. Okay, we'll go with that for now. I'll pour the sugar in and see what happens. Can't take water out, and once I use up my sugar, I don't have any more sugar, so. love a Honda. People sometimes ask what kind of an agitator is in there. It's nothing special. It's just a 45. I guess this point's mostly the center. It's not perfect, but it's a the pump is still running. You may hear it in the distance. Mixing that syrup. I didn't eyeball it, but there should be around 400 liters of syrup there. And I just counted up all my pails and nukes and whatnot. Hadn't done that in a long time, actually. I think I counted 43 of the large pails here, and I believe there's another 29 at the out yard. And so then add that to about 97 six-frame units. So I think if you're looking for a total on my heartbeats this time of year, I think that's 177 or something like that. So that's okay. I mean, honestly, I went into winter last year with 150. I went into the winter before with 163, as I recall. Oddly, you remember those numbers. So, you know, I'm holding my own with a little help from my friends and blessings from the Lord with the queen rearing and whatnot. So that's just kind of the way it goes. I'm not complaining, just, facing the reality of the situation. So we'll see how these bees winter. The clusters I saw were kind of small. I know I had a mite problem, and that may be my undoing. But, if you don't take care of your mites, then things don't go well for you. I had put some spare syrup in a barrel over in the end here, and the bees are all over that right now. It's a beautiful day. There's no wind to speak of, a little tiny breeze in the trees there. And I don't know the temperature, but it's low to mid teens here, and the sun is extremely warm. We've got very good flight going on here. And I think when that syrup is mixed, I'm going to come over. There's a few jars here that are low. I'll fill those jars just to make sure those nukes have all the syrup they want. So what I need to do is I need to then decide who gets how much. Because I can't just fill all the pails again. I don't have that much syrup. 400 liters of syrup. If you take 400 liters of syrup and 43 large pails, that's not quite 10 liters a pail, which is a lot because the pail holds 12 liters. So, if I went half a pail on each one, I might work out okay, because then I can use the excess on the nukes. And actually that math doesn't work because that's 43 here. That's not the out yard. So I need to go to the out yard yet and put some syrup in those pails, because although I didn't check those colonies, I'm sure they're likely in the same same condition that these are in. So that's just where I'm at. Thanks for watching. Take care and have fun. It's Monday, October 16th, 2023. It's another beautiful day. By the forecast last week, I was kind of writing it off this week. And I think we are going to get some rain this week. However, it's sure been nice so far. But it's Monday. Anything can happen. I'm at the out yard. I've got about 200 liters of syrup in the tank now. And so I've got, I think there's 28 or 29 here that I can divide that among. I don't know if I'm going to plan to use it up here, but I'll definitely give them some. And before I do, I want to see kind of where they're at. So I'm going to light the smoker, get my jacket on, and I have to pull apivar here today as well. So I'm going to open up every colony here and pull the apivar out. So yeah, I want to see how much brood there is in here, and I want to see how they're doing with their winter stores. So that's on the docket for today. Okay, I'm just going to check perhaps these first 4 to get a baseline as to what I'm dealing with. That pail is quite certainly empty. Let's see how far I can go here without gloves. I have to put reducers on these yet. I couldn't remember if I had. Well, that sure looks nicer than what I have seen at my home yard so far. I think it's a mite issue at the home yard. And as far as feed stores go, this kind of thing is encouraging. See, it's right full of syrup. So they've been packing away the syrup here. And they've got a really nice start on stuff. So the bees are all the way out to the edge. It's not particularly warm. I think it was about 11 when I left the house. So that's just over 50 F, I suppose. So now if this means that they've got this hive right full of feed, maybe I don't need to put any more feed on these. Because if this hive is full of syrup, I will reserve the syrup I've got in the tank for the home yard. It seems to be kind of behind on the syrup. So this is 100% syrup. Sorry, I'm casting a shadow. So that's syrup there. And a bee crawling up my leg. So that's syrup, and there's some pollen in that frame. That's a nice looking colony so far. Hoping I don't find too much brood. A little bit of sealed brood is okay. Open brood, not so much. Okay, so yeah, I'm casting a shadow. You can't really see that, but there's some, just a few sealed cells, but there are some open larva cells here too. There's some fairly young larvae. Yeah, it's not. Oh man, that's a slab almost. That's a red cell cup. I'll have to ask James what that means, because it will be meaningful. Come on, bee. All right, still need to take the apivar out. I meant to bring pliers. If you have a pair of pliers, you can kind of yank those without moving the frames. You do take a chance on the queen. But okay, so what I'm noticing about this strip, these strips are, I'm sure these are different than the old ones. They're not as covered in comb and propolis and whatnot as I have come to expect from Apivar. See, this is a half a frame of brood here too. Oh man, when are they going to shut down? There's the red dot queen. And there's brood here as well. I'm not seeing a lot of very young brood, so that indicates to me that she is sort of slowing down. So this was very, very heavy. So this is all syrup. And you can just tell by the weight. Okay, now I hope that's the end of the nest, but I have seen it where they'll have a frame of syrup and then they've continued the nest on farther over. But that's all syrup as well. And I don't see any brood on the next one, so I'm assuming that from here over is syrup. Look at that strip. All right, well, that was educational. And I'm thinking that because there's so much brood here, that I do want to go ahead with some more syrup in the pail, just to backfill that as that brood emerges. Got a few days left for them to take syrup. Okay, well, that looks like a decent looking colony. See, the fact that they're stretched out in here is nice, because it's actually not bad out here now, but it hasn't been very warm for very long today. See if I can get that out. I don't like when the bees ride around on the hive tool. It is not safe. That's heavy. That's a syrup frame. Oh, it'll be up my leg again. Yeah, 100% syrup on that. Guess I'll just put it there again. You know how you keep bees from crawling up your leg? You take your pant leg, fold it over, and tuck it inside your socks. Look kind of funny, but it's effective. Have to get that bee out first. Oh, didn't get her out. She stung me. Okay. No more bees up the pant leg. Works for wood ticks too. It keeps the wood ticks from going up inside your clothes. Put this back on. This glove is just so I can pull the Apivar without touching it. There's another clustering here. Do you think that's where the brood is? Let's see. Let's see if that's where the brood is. Well, there's brood over here on my right. There's brood here. And that's nearly a slab of brood there. So I really need to get more syrup in here and plug these out. There's another red dot queen walking around there. The wrong way up to the sun. And see, she's still laying those up. She's got young brood in some of those cells. She didn't get the memo on winter. and what's expected of her. It looks like I'm seeing the same thing here that I'm seeing in the home yard. And look at that. That's almost a slab of brood. Another red cell cup. Another slab of brood. Both sides. Did not get the memo. It's half a frame of brood. Another half a frame of brood. Oh dear. Brood there. Almost half a frame of brood. Oh. So the sealed brood, I guess, in itself is okay. Open brood, not crazy about that because that uses a lot of feed. But the reason that I'm not crazy about all of the sealed brood is that if there's sealed brood, there's not honey, there's not winter stores in those cells. So here's empty cells here and there. So they need to fill those empty cells with winter stores. And I think that's the end of the nest. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. We shouldn't come to the 16th of October with that much brood, I would think. And I'll tell you, among the beekeepers I know in my area, what that nest should look like on the 16th of October is largely theoretical. I should phone Lloyd and ask him what he thinks. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to give up. I think I'm going to just use my time to pull apivar here today, and then I'll leave these pails turned up. Just wedge that like that. Get that lid to turn. I'll leave these pails turned up so that then I can come by with the pump and fill these pails. Or I won't fill them, but I wish I could fill them. They might dig it. Okay, hopefully this doesn't take a lot of time. We'll be able to do it without actually taking the lid all the way off. You know, I've noticed in the cool weather, this goes the spring and this time of year, is the bees don't respond to that smoke very well. You smoke them, they don't really go down very well at all. Get that hook in that little triangle and it should pull right out. Yeah, hive tool. Hive tool can do just about anything. Amazing tool. I'll just loosen these caps so I can take them off with one hand when I come by. The thing I like about the toothpicks, I use the toothpicks to hold the apivar strips up. One thing I like about the toothpicks is it's a little piece of wood. I could do that and the toothpick might break or might fall in or it might fall on the ground. If it falls on the ground, it's not going to puncture a tire like a nail might. So that's kind of why I like the toothpicks. I don't know if there's a gallon of syrup in each one of those, but there's something. And I think I might go and buy some more sugar because I would like to give them some more. It's looking like the weather forecast, I might be able to feed them for a while yet. So I think I'll mix up I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some math and I'll figure out how much I want to put here, how much I want to put at the home yard. And I'm betting, you know, I don't want to say another tank. That's another $1,000, but at least a half a tank. So that's a lot of expense, you know. It's a lot of expense. Anyway, that's the out yard for today. It's Wednesday, October 18, 2023. And you can hear that I'm huffing and puffing again. Sorry for that. I know it's loud in my videos. Can't do much about it. And yesterday was a trip to Winnipeg. Did a few deliveries. Visited a store, which was, it's always nice to deliver store, you know, to see the people, but also, you know, sell some product. So I loaded up almost 900 pounds of sugar here in the pickup. And then I also picked up packed honey, which is here and here. So the half ton had about 1,500 pounds in the back coming home. It did just fine, but you could tell there was a load. But that's the beginning of the day. I need to get the sugar off and get the tank up here again and mix this up into syrup so I can serve that to the bees ASAP. I did give them enough to hold them off for a couple of days, but I'm gonna have to add this to it, and hopefully they'll take that down. As you've probably seen by now, I was not too terribly impressed by the amount of stores that I found in my colonies, and I was surprised by the amount of brood I found. So that's a delicate situation, a delicate balance. And anyway, I'm going to leave you with that for now. I'm going to go and get this sugar mixed up. It's easier to store in the tank than it is to store in the bag. Can't get rained on, so therefore it needs to be in a building. Being in a building is a pain because the buildings are full of other stuff. So we'll mix it up and it can sit in that tank. Well, normally I'd be filling these pails right now. I'm kind of sick to my stomach right now, and it has nothing to do with what I ate. I got all this syrup mixed, and I think there was in excess of 500 liters of syrup in there. And yeah, that's past tense because I left it unattended for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. And this fitting broke. And the pump pumped the whole tank out on the ground. So, so the only thing I can do is leave the remnant in the trailer and let the bees come over and get it. It's a warm day today, so maybe they'll find it. Look at it. I don't know if you can see that. It's just running off the trailer everywhere. I moved it here to the bee yard. There's a huge lake of syrup by the honey house. That's nearly $600 worth of syrup gone on the ground. What in the world to do now? Running out of days. Look at the lake in here. So I hope the bees find this and come and get it. That's a nightmare. You know, I always imagine that if something goes wrong, that can happen. And well, it happened. I have to be far more vigilant when I leave this running to not leave it unattended, I suppose. So that fitting that broke, I guess just the Yeah, see, I should have known better too. That's a gray plastic fitting. I don't know if that's PVC or what it is. I don't think it's PVC. The white stuff is PVC. That, I shouldn't have used that there, obviously, but I should have known better. I can easily put a galvanized nipple in that. Boy, what a stupid move to use that. Well, that little nipple just cost me $600. And maybe more than that, because now my bees aren't going to get fed. Take me 3 or 4 more hours even to get more sugar. And I don't have enough day left to get it, you know, even mixed and served up. I got to regroup, make a new plan, figure out what to do. That's a lot of money too. I mean, yeah, you go get some more, that's another $600. Well, I hope you're having a good day. The weather is gorgeous here. It was a beautiful day for this, but not for that to happen.